and welcome to another Best Junglers episode, this one for patch 14.11, and we've had quite an interesting start to Split 2 with the farming meta arising, except it's not a farming meta. Everybody can actually use the jungle boosted experience. It's really just about how intelligent you are with your counter jungling as well as your ganking. And so in this video we will cover the best junglers overall as well as for low and high MMR specifically. But if you happen to be a jungler that is struggling to adapt to this new reality, maybe you're not climbing as fast as you want, maybe you're not reaching the peak that you deserve, then you absolutely must head to Virkayu.gg. Not only do I have a free jungle improvement resource, I also have a dedicated program with jungle video courses, jungle coaching, coaching classes, a jungle VOD library, special weekly content you'll see nowhere else, as well as all of this hosted in a private jungle Discord. And if there is one thing I'm good at, it's making junglers go from low elo to high elo, as seen by the great number of success stories from the end of last season and already the beginning of season 14. So to climb faster than everybody you know and to jungle diff every game you play, head to Virkayu.gg or click the link in the description below. Alright my friends, we are on the S tier page. Welcome Kha'Zix. Now, Kha'Zix was not doing so good. He was struggling a little bit in the jungle. A lot of it is because people are just building, the wrong items, when you can just keep things very simple with Ghost Blades and Cyrilda's Grudges and so on. However, Riot saw an opportunity, hilarious itemization pun, thank you very much, to buff him up anyway. And it's a buff that I absolutely love and I think he needed. They increased the base damage on his Q, not the AD ratio, the base damage. When base damages are increased, it's a real boost to the early game of whatever champion that they're applying it to. If you boost the ratios, it means they're going to scale better as the game goes on. This means if you understood my strategy for getting the fastest level 6 possible, like under 6 minutes, close to 6 minutes, then Kha'Zix is able to do that now, because even though it's only, a small amount of base damage increase, say 10 at rank 1, you're still using that Q multiple times in a clear, it's gonna speed it up nicely. Kha'Zix, fast level 6, heavy snowball assassination, great advantage and experience, and then of course using the gold. What more could you want as a jungler? Because now you have the lead in every aspect and it's on you, the player, your skill, and your champion to be able to snowball the game after 40 minutes. And Kha'Zix does that damn well. Next up we have Nidalee, who, we know she's strong. When you've got full clearing junglers doing full clears and you've got ganking junglers ganking and then falling back to maximize their experience, Nidalee's the one champion in the middle of that says, I don't care who you are, I'm taking your camps, pushing you out of your jungle, I'm counter ganking you, I'm swooping from side to side across the map, taking objectives, and there's nothing you can do about it. And there's almost a powerful truth to that, because as much as I'm seeing cringe, terrible, and stupid level 1, level 2 invades, guys, please stop doing this, just focus on your clears. Nidalee is the one that either on first rotation, second rotation, or third rotation up until about 7 minutes, she will invade you, she will pressure you, and because of her champion's kit, the gap close, the execute, the range component, there's not a lot you can do to actually stop her. The best thing you can do is increase your jungle spacing. I'll leave that video concept below. It's really important to understand that, hey, I'm against a Kha'Zix who's invading or Nidalee who's invading. I don't want to be near them at all. And now you have to control your jungle in a certain way that when they are top lane, you are bottom lane. When they're bottom lane, you're top lane. When they're mid, you're either counter ganking it or you're counter jungling them. You just don't want to interact too much with them directly until such time that you can eviscerate them. But a good Nidalee ain't gonna let that happen. Next up we have Lilia, and I can't make a video about getting fast level 6s and not include a Lilia, which I did, except she was the slowest one in there. Think about that for a second. And now you're asking how that works. Well, it works that way, my friends, because she's still got a 7-minute level 6, which was slowest in the video, but she did it with 301 KDA. So she was ganking and fighting and still sequencing quickly because the champion isn't an AFK farmer who just comes out of the jungle at level 12. She's not Udyr. She is someone who loves to skirmish, can very easily gank, has amazing rotation with her passive. You're looking at a hyper-mobile, hyper-scaling, percentage max HP, skirmishing farming monster. Don't let the fact that she looks like Bambi confuse you. Champion is outrageously strong at the moment, and you should be playing her. Next up we have Talia, and everyone's going, but Virkayu, she was nerfed, her win rate went down 1%, 52% to 51%. Oh dear. Now the champ has been outrageous for a very long period of time, and nerfing her damage per rog down by 4 at rank 1 all the way up to down by 2 at rank 5 means that the nerf becomes less effective the higher up you rank the Q, so it's really hurting you a lot earlier. And in that sense, who cares? Because you can still clear really quickly, you still out-skirmish most people, and you're still gonna one-shot ADCs later on. And you're still an anti-mobile queen with your E and your W. Thus, yes, the DPS has gone down, the clear has slowed down again. and it's nerfed to by 1% at this stage. But when you're a giga broken OP, a nerf doesn't make you automatically terrible. It just makes you really, really strong, and that's what she is. Now we're talking about Virkayu, and again, his win rate does not represent his power curve, and I think he's in the most balanced state he's ever been, because that's what you want from this champion. He's good at absolutely everything. Do you want to get a fast level 6? I just coached a huge class talking to a lot of Virkayu mains from all ranks saying, hey, you don't need to overexert yourself looking to do some sort of random invades or ganks. Fully focus on your sequencing for a fast level 6. If you can rotate with your E and your kit to get to somewhere before that, do it. Otherwise, the goal is think of Virkayu more as a level 6 spiker, because he is, and then use that ultimate immediately on the enemy jungler who will be level 5, on laners who are behind, and that's when you start snowballing. You got Kraken, you got Sundered Sky, you got Blade of the Ruined King, you got Death's Dance, you got Sterix Gauge. You've got a whole bunch of itemization combinations that you can use to match your win condition moments, but the whole thing is keep yourself ahead of the game, ahead of your sequencing, ahead in experience, and there's ultimately no way that you can't climb with Virkayu unless it's a you issue. I apologize for saying that, but the champ is just that based at the moment. Next up we have Karthus, and everyone's saying, but his nerf, that was actually quite potent. No, you use a Q spam a lot and they nerfed a lot of damage from the Q. Well, I went to my residential high elo Karthus main and said, do a test clear for me. And in the private Discord, he said, I will do that. And you know what happened? He lost 1 second on his clear. Oh no. Anyway, that's the reaction he had. That's the reaction I had, because you still have such a high downtime between your sequencing. You still farm faster than almost anybody else. And yes, it will add up. And yes, his win rate went down by quite a bit, but that's because bad Karthus players could only hit 2 Qs and do monster amounts of damage with the Blackfire Torch and Leandry combo. Now you probably need to hit 4 Qs again, and you can't get away with only hitting 2, which means skillful play is once more back on the menu. The champ has been Astro strong for half a decade at this point, and he has still been good for a very long time, even in the previous meta. Now it's a sequencing level 6 spiking meta. Come on, Karthus is still an S tier champion. Next up though, not really S tier, almost like Giga Z tier or Z tier for you American folk, Rek'Sai. Absolutely outrageously strong. Play rate just doesn't represent that power, and obviously it will go down the more people play her, but she's sitting again at like a 53-54% win rate. Now you're saying, but isn't she a ganking jungler? Yes. All that means is you can still do any sort of 3 camp, 4 camp, whatever clears you want to do into a ganking action, as long as you, again, understand, let me ganking pressure and get guaranteed kills, right? The way that farming junglers win is when a ganking jungler messes up and wastes their time not getting ganks. And then that ganking jungler gets counter jungled at crucial moments and loses a whole bunch of experience. A good Rek'Sai is going to be able to gank on sides of the map where they will not be counter jungled because there's nothing to be counter jungled, and then they can fall back to their camps intelligently. And because Rek'Sai is the queen of ganking, her success rate is always going to be potent and powerful, which means she's not like a regular bad ganking jungler who's going to fail a lot. She will mostly succeed, especially at higher skill tiers of play. And then when she rushes 6, if there's no ganks, her 6 is very, very strong. She will get in your face. She will take objectives. You can't outscale her early because that's her power zone. A good Rek'Sai with good tempo and good camp control, unbelievably powerful. Next up we have Bel'Veth with much the same concept, except they also buffed her passive farming and scaling, right? So you don't have to coin flip as much, and you can't even coin flip as much. So what I've been showing some Bel'Veth mains in, again, the private Discord is, hey, why don't you use these level 6 rush moments and get true form on the grubs, on the first grubs? So you get 6 on the first grubby, the second grubby you take, boom, true form. The sooner you get true form, the more you get map scaling, and rather than invading coin flip on the first clear or second clear of a juggler, invade on the third rotation when those second buffs spawn and just watch the chaos. And of course, use your mites, use your void fishies, and split push the hell out of the game. Now, the A tier page is going to be littered with an amalgamation of randomness. By that I mean, the junglers here are very, very different from each other. Skarner is still very, very strong, but they took away all of his diversity and cool different ways to play and made him a big old tank sponge, and it's not very exciting anymore. And I'm gonna speak in monotone because Riot Games, what have you done? An amazing rework conceptually, an amazing reworking kit, but now you can build in basically one way, and there's not that much nuance like the old Skarner. Either way, he's strong. If you want a tank, this is what you go. Next up we have Xin Zhao. For the same reason I put him in the S tier last patch, he has had a little bit of a dip as people and other champions are rising to counter him. He's still one of these hidden OP junglers in my opinion. In fact, because I put him at the bottom of S tier in the last patch, someone in my Discord decided to try out 10-game winning streak. Here's the image on your screen now. The champion, much like Rek'Sai, has a very high guaranteed success rate on ganks. And as long as you path in a way that you don't get counter jungled, and then you use your gold lane to counter jungle and invade, you really can snowball any game you want to play. and his itemization is thumbs up. Go play it. While Master Yi's true damage was nerfed and then the meta changed and he was pretty damn weak, let's be honest, absolutely atrocious state. So they give him some buffs. Extra health, extra armor scaling, some more attack damage growth, some extra attack speed growth, and all of a sudden he's back on the menu, boys. Once more, running amok across all elo ranges, stat checking people after he farms to level 6 really quickly. Again, a good Master Yi, I love to see it. I don't think he's broken, brain dead at all. I think he's in a nice, relatively strong but decent state at the moment where good Master Yis are going to pop off in this brand new meta. Following this, we have Diana. Now, I've seen a Diana do a 3-camp gank topside and be 2 levels down on me. I've seen a Diana level 1 invade a high elo Karthus and die on the Raptor camp invade. Look, guys, it's Diana. Full clear first 2 rotations, get level 6, and then destroy people in split push. She's basically like a Bel'Veth and then a Karthus combined. You take elements from both of them and then you dominate teamfights or you dominate the split push. But you can only do that if you have a lead. She becomes this dominant AP assassin who can split push, and she really is very difficult to deal with a lead. So why are you coin flipping a lead that you're almost guaranteed with smart jungling for random ass invades and ganks? Play solid, play baseline, take control. Diana is strong. One of the weirdly strong champions is the Shaco here. You know, when I see one, I have no issue beating it, but then when I'm playing support or something like that, the enemy Shaco pops off or my Shaco just takes over the game and I'm like, huh, interesting. And yes, we have the AP Shaco, the hybrid Shaco, but we also have the AD Shaco. All variations of the champion are performing really damn well. And that's because when you have more experience on the map, a champion like this who can snowball with the cheese with good ganks, again like the Xin Chao and the Rek'Sai, he's able to fall back to camps and counter jungling and pressure without much variance. And there's a lot of experience there if he wants to go the profane and kind of full clear and split push, which we've seen over the years. Shaco now provides you many different ways to carry and climb in this meta. If you're a Shaco player, you should be happy, and I love seeing deviously intelligent pathing, so carry on. Here's just the one iffy one on this list because the win rate has gone down a bit, but I largely attribute that to, again, not understanding pressure points in a farming meta, not understanding when to invade, not understanding when to full clear. You do need to balance those decisions, but the crit changes, obviously the nerfs came through and some itemizations, that does affect Kindred as well. It's not enough in my opinion that it takes the champion out of the game, and I do think there is a player-focused skill issue here where if you're playing Kindred, don't overthink it too much. Just find those new pressure points when we're not in these ganking metas, find these new pressure points in these farming realities, and you'll notice that you're snowballing, getting 4, 5, 6 marks just as easily, and you'll be able to carry your games just like you could before. Following this, we have Hecarim, who's gone from stable pony to Genghis Khan horseman thing. Because he's running the planes and he's running them damn well, all across the continent. Look guys, it's Hecarim's meta. He dominates farming and sequencing metas. He can rotate over to any fight or skirmish that he needs to. He's got guaranteed effectiveness in team fights and skirmishes. You just have to stop overthinking things. Keep it simple, get 6, win the fight, push in, take an objective, split push a little bit, rotate quickly to the fights, and really ensure the build you're going is matching the playstyle you're trying to accomplish. If you are going with some lethality, then you have to understand you're squishy. If you're going more fighter, you're not going to be able to one-shot the backline. So you have to position in those fights and think deeply about where you're actually going to impact the game. Is it in the beginning of the fight, the end of the fight? Am I sort of disjointed from the fight trying to assassinate the ADC? You got to figure that out, but once you do, he will run over the game for you. This final champion, I could have put so many things and I just thought, you know what? While these other ones are performing well, Zac is just a great, solid baseline choice because he's not a ganker in that sense. You should be getting 7 to 9 CS per minute on this champion. You should be doing a more hybrid AP fighter than full tank build because you have obviously the Faded Ashes that allows you to accomplish this. And a tank with a lead, a tank with this much CC, a tank with this much healing and damage, who becomes unkillable with a lead, sounds like something that's one of the best junglers in the game. And we're gonna shimmy on over to the low elo page, and yes, Master Yi, despite his resurgence, is not the best, it's Nocturne. And I could put Nocturne in the A tier page, I think he's fringe. I just don't think he's necessarily that powerful. Like I see a Nocturne, farming meta, getting level 6, okay, but I don't think he does it nearly as well, and the loss of lethal tempo has taken away some of that skirmishing ability. And obviously when you have, you know, the Nocturne and the Master Yi, the Rammus is gonna show up. Brand, exquisite down here, basically the Karthus of low elo. Amumu, again, farming, 6, control, scaling, tank, damage with AP, everything you need to climb to gold. Diana, and then the Briar is doing solidly because when you have a built-in Tiamat and camp experience is this high, as long as you're having highly effective ganks and falling back to your camps and then using that advantage to push people out, she is the Rek'Sai or Xin Chao for this elo range. Low elo is still primed, you need to be a good jungler, whatever champion you play will get you to gold. Much like basically high elo where you can play whatever the hell you want. I've just chosen to put these champions up here. yes, the Kha'Zix is still great, you've still got the Kindreds, you still got all of the champions that you know and love in high elo that will work. But these are the ones with the highest presence. Win rates, effectiveness, ban rates, pick rates obviously more so than the win rates, and obviously assessment in scouting. Now the Graves, it's really weird. He just doesn't seem to have this core itemization advantage that he's usually had. I think the loss of Stormrazor does hurt, but this is his kind of meta. Nidalee, when she's strong, Graves is usually also strong. They're basically analogs of each other in these environments. So I will say Graves is something you can use in any MMR, but it does require a bit more of a fine-toothed execution than playing something else that I put on the list. Otherwise, obviously, we have the Skarnas and the Rek'Sais and the Viegos and the Lilias and the Talias. A lot of the challenger and high elo goals that you have when you're playing in higher MMR, yes, champion effectiveness is way more potent here because the skill does gap close, but I'm also going to counter that point by saying if someone isn't challenger or destined for challenger or has been challenger, it's less about the champion here because they understand how to maximize a lead as a jungler when there's this much experience to be had. And that's one of the biggest things you notice when you look at, say, a 100 LP master player and then you look at a 1200 LP challenger player, you see this massive effective difference even if they're playing on a weaker champion. So while all of these are the best for high MMR, make sure that you are jungling well first and foremost, and then you could honestly pick a hell of a lot more champions. But those are your choices, and if you want to learn how to take any of these champions in this entire video to level 6 as fast as possible so you can win your games faster and climb faster, the Jungle Roots video on your screen now will do the juice.